Tim Walz is getting destroyed right now. $1 billion in welfare fraud, federal investigation launched, House Oversight demanding answers, Treasury investigating whether your tax dollars funded terrorists. The media is calling it one of the biggest fraud scandals in American history. But here's what nobody's talking about: California.
The king of welfare fraud? No. Gavin Newsom's like, hold my beer, buddy.
Gavin Newsom looked at that billion-dollar scandal and said, hey, hold my beer. $32 billion unemployment fraud, $13 billion in Medi-Cal giveaways, a food stamp rate nearly triple the federal limit. And the investigation into Newsom? There isn't one. So let me show you the receipts. Let's start with a big one. Between 2020 and 2022, California's Employment Development Department, the EDD, paid out $32.6 billion in fraudulent unemployment claims.
$32.6 billion in unemployment fraud. And that's just in a 2-year period when Newsom shut down our economy. Billion of fraudulent payouts were made through the unemployment insurance program.
That's not a typo. $32.6 billion gone.
$20 billion in the pandemic, the employment department sent to people on death row, prisons and jails, and criminal gangs internationally.
Money sent to prisoners on death row, to people who don't exist, to criminal rings running scams from other countries. What did Newsom do? Well, he borrowed $20 billion from the federal government to cover it. That loan, still not paid off, and you, the California taxpayers, are paying the interest right now through higher payroll taxes on small businesses. But that's not even the worst part. Food stamp fraud in California at 13.4%. The federal government says keep it under 5%. We're nearly triple that. Carl DeMaio broke it down. That's $4 to $6 billion in food stamp fraud alone since Newsom took office. And then there's Medi-Cal.
We find that the price tag is much higher. It's $13.1 billion, and it's expected to hit $15 billion in the next year.
Newsom said the program would cost $6 billion. This year, $13.1 billion, more than doubled, climbing to $15 billion next year. Meanwhile, they're cutting services for California citizens like you and me, cutting hospice care for dying patients, telling you to tighten your belt.
California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton launching a tip line to report fraud cases. He tells the New York Post that whatever we're seeing in Minnesota is 1,000 times worse in California because of many more years of one-party rule by the Democrats.
Steve Hilton said it best. Whatever you're seeing in Minnesota is 1,000 times worse in California. Add it up. We're looking at over $54 billion gone. And nobody's held accountable. And here's what makes this disgusting. Tim Walz is facing federal investigation for $1 billion. 3 schemes, all under his watch.
Federal prosecutors have discovered for the last 5 years, there has been massive welfare fraud in the great state of Minnesota. Massive. Over $1 billion of American taxpayer money has been stolen. Just stolen.
Feeding Our Future, a nonprofit that claimed to feed hungry kids, hundreds of millions from the state. The problem? No hungry kids. The money went to yachts, jewelry, luxury cars, and everything else. Homeless housing? Well, it started at $2 million, ballooned to $104 million a year. Nobody's getting housed. Money just vanished. Autism services. They bribe parents up to $1,500 to fake their kids' diagnoses. $400 million a year, children who weren't autistic.
Once again, they couldn't find enough autistic children, so they bribed the many parents in the community, gave them money to certify that their children were autistic.
State employees blew the whistle, told Walz directly he retaliated against them. Senator Kennedy stood on the Senate floor and called it clown world on steroids.
Clown world on steroids.
Now people are going to prison. Stay tuned because you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. Let's put it side by side. Walz, $1 billion in welfare fraud, federal investigation, House oversight, people going to prison. Newsom, $32 billion unemployment fraud, $13 billion in Medi-Cal, $6 billion in food stamps. No investigation, no oversight, no consequences. Walz, 3 fraud schemes exposed, people going to prison. Newsom, EDD fraud, Medi-Cal fraud, food stamp fraud, homeless spending fraud, and nothing. Walz, whistleblowers got retaliated against, but at least there were whistleblowers. Newsom, no whistleblowers, nobody asking questions, nobody's even investigating. Why? One-party rule, no checks, no balances, no opposition asking questions, no media investigating. The liberal media wants Newsom to be president, so they look the other way. $54 billion gone, and Gavin Newsom is running for the White House. And here's the part that makes me absolutely sick. Let me ask you something. Do you think twice before going to the doctor? Do you look at your prescription and wonder, can I afford to refill this month? Do you skip the appointment because copay isn't in the budget? Yeah, me too. I make decent money, over 20 years helping families to buy homes in California, and lately, even I'm watching my budget shrink. Groceries, utilities, gas, it all adds up. That's when I started asking, where is all this money going? They're raising your water bill 62%, your electric bill 47%. They want to tax you if you try to leave the state, but there's $13 billion for free healthcare while they cut your services. There's $32 billion in fraud, and nobody's going to jail. You're skipping a doctor, they're buying yachts. So where does that leave us? Well, here's the difference. Minnesota has oversight. Federal investigators stepped in. House oversight got involved. People are going to prison. Walz is getting destroyed, as he should be. California, nothing. No federal investigation, no state investigation, no oversight committee, no accountability. The media won't even investigate because they want Newsom in the White House. This isn't incompetence. This is the system working exactly how they designed it. One-party rule, zero oversight, your money, gone. $54 billion, and not a single person in handcuffs. If you're tired of being lied to, subscribe right now. Hit that bell, please, right here. The mainstream media will not cover this. They're protecting Newsom's presidential run. I'm not. Tomorrow, I'm dropping next one. $24 billion spent on homelessness in California. The problem got worse, so where did the money go? Look, I've got receipts. You're not going to believe it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Please share this video. They don't want you to see this. I'm Ramin. This is Real Talk. And California, we got a $54 billion problem.